Is that?
Yes, we are back on, and good morning. It's good morning still. Actually, you guys are on good afternoon, right, in
No,
Namibia.
it's way late for us now. It's almost nap time.
So we
Yeah.
are going to be talking about how we are pivoting our businesses. Today, we're going to actually talk about our businesses and how we're doing it. What are we offering? What are we selling? I mean, this is all about making money because we're in business to make money. So, Buttons, take it away. Who are you and what are you doing?
Yeah, I think I'm still your cousin. I'm from Namibia, Swakopmund. And I think this is now our third or fourth
Yeah.
chat show. Yeah.
Yes.
And in Swakopmund, it's now 16:30. So soon it's time for a
Glass of
nightcap. If
wine.
we could have had, yeah, if we did have alcohol, we would have done that, but it's not there yet. And we've also got Brandt van der Westhuizen, Brandt van West, a friend of mine and a colleague of mine that's also here with us today. Welcome, Brandt. Just Brandt when I'm done, he can also introduce himself. So my company is connect people to people, and we do team buildings. That's our business. Also events and conferencing. At the moment, events and conferencing is a little bit on the back burner, but hopefully soon with our new stage 3 that was just announced, we might be slowly but surely go back to the new normal.
I just want
Thank
to.
you.
I just want to. I picked up on something, and I know this is because I talked to my sister. Is you can't buy alcohol in Namibia and South Africa, right?
That's
That is
correct right
good.
now, yes.
It's crazy, right? I mean, it's the one thing you can do in isolation is get drunk. So, so Brant,
Nice
tell
to
us
have
a bit.
priorities.
Hey, we're family. So, Brant, tell us again what do you do, and I'm very excited about what you guys are starting now with a new show and everything.
Hi, Veronica. Hello, Buttons. I see you all the time, so I don't even need to say hello, Buttons. And, well, I'm Brandt van West, and I'm a creativity specialist, which basically just means I help people think more, think better, help them to look at things from a different perspective. And that's really what I do. And that may seem plain Jane to people, but what it really means is that I get you out of your own way. So, for example, this whole team building thing came out of me connect people to people, and I asked them, what are you going to do now? And it's like, well, the lockdown thing, we don't know. And so I thought, how can we work together? What can we do differently? And we had a wonderful meeting, and then we started doing things online. And this is exactly the sphere that I work in, is digital presentations, digital skills, digital marketing, all kinds of things. It's just thinking digital.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's so important. I've got a guy on that's listening to us. I hope he's listening to us. Tim, he does a lot of shows and he does a lot of lives on LinkedIn, and he keeps texting, "Hey Veronica, come online. So show me a camera and I'm there, baby." So, and this is it, exactly it. I mean, this is how we're getting our customers, how we did before, but it's even more important to get our customers online because we can't go and shake their hand and say hi. So, so how did
Absolutely.
you guys combined, you decided to start or pivot the business to doing more stuff online, doing team building online, right?
Yes. So from my perspective, it was basically, it's something that I've been doing anyway, but I felt like connect people to people could help my business or my sphere of influence grow exponentially. And they haven't done any digital stuff as far as I know. And I thought, this would be a wonderful way to connect to two businesses instead of thinking, it's a competitive atmosphere. Or I tell people it's more important to have a cooperative edge rather than a competitive one.
Yes.
Especially now during these troubling times, that having a cooperative outlook and joining with other businesses rather than saying, it's not my business, or looking at the business across from you as your enemy or something like that. Rather than saying, it's like, I'm losing this, but you've got this, and I can add this. What can we do together to help us both
Absolutely.
maybe not just survive, but actually grow into some new work or new potential, new possibilities.
Yes, exactly. So buttons, and then so you, I mean, you were doing everything for teams, and I was actually I mentioned you to somebody about the events. I mean, events and tourism is dead right now. Nothing is happening, and so you guys, you had all these team events that you were going to be launching, and it all went totally flat like a pancake. So, right.
That sounds bad. I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry, Buttons.
I know, but I mean, this is the fact of life, right?
Yeah, it's true, because our obviously we did all our team buildings face to face and with personal contact, and we make use of a methodology that we call adventure experiential learning. So it's more difficult if you have to do it online. But what we have done now is obviously there's also when you do it face to face, you experience the adventure, and in the experience of the adventure, the learning process starts. But to do it online is a little bit more difficult. You can't take a person and do something scary or do something abnormal, which will then put them out of the comfort zone. And then by experiencing that, they will start learning. But now what we're doing, it's also not the physical situation. It's also a state of mind. Adventure can also be a state of mind.
Very much so. Yes,
so it's
exactly.
It's about first. It's about fear that we're experiencing now. It's about the uncertainty that we experience now. So that can also be an adventure, and we can also make use of that experience, and then in the process learn something from it. Exactly. So that is what we've been trying for the past weeks. Yeah, that's basically how we go about, and also obviously acknowledging what you are, where you are, what your situation is, and then basically getting mentally, you have to take the mental step before you take the physical step. And
yes,
you can imagine when I started, when I'm fairly older than Brandt, when I started working online, it was also an experience for me, a risk for me.
Yes.
So let's call it a little bit of a fear factor as well, to work online, and that's where he helps, because he gave us a tutor how to be online, what to do online, how to work with these different platforms, and that's also part of what he does. Yeah. That helped us a lot, huge. And we could combine those experiences and learn from that. So yeah, that's basically what we try and do. So and then we obviously take a specific business and talk to the people, see what their problems are, and see how we can do a turnkey solution for them and work through the process. What's important now with also online is that because you as a leader don't actually know everything, which is also a good thing. We had a chat the other day with one of our other colleagues where he said vulnerability can also now become a positive tool, because you are, as a manager or as a leader, now experiences the vulnerability that you were supposed to not have as a leader. But by sharing that with somebody, it opens up the channels again, because then they also see, but you are normal, you're also a person, and
human person first.
Yes.
So yeah, and Brandt also makes use of, and we'll get to that a little bit later, about certain tools that we've used now with some of the businesses, which we call Scamper, and we can touch on that a little bit later as well.
Yeah, I find that especially, I mean, America's now, and this goes state by state, is slowly coming back. I hate to say online, but slowly getting back to normal. So I was just doing a point of sale system for I have an e-commerce client and they have a retail store. So I'm doing the point of sale implementation, which is, you're working with hardware, so something will go wrong, right? So, so anyway, but it was strange. So I've been helping people getting online with their products. which is not a problem. There are a lot of people that have realized they have a retail store, you have to get busy on e-commerce, and this little hiatus has helped them get their ducks in a row. The strange part was being in a store, in a shop, and hardly anybody comes in, and they're all coming in with a mask, and that is just, so I think people have to overcome their fear of actually going out. And I feel that, when I actually had to drive to Houston to go and do this, and there was that hesitancy, I'm going out now, I'm meeting people, is it safe, is it not safe, in the back of your head, you worry about this stuff. Although, believe me, when I was in my car driving, I absolutely loved it. It was like freedom. So, right? But I think
because that's something that you now have control over.
Yes.
Whereas
exactly.
this entire lockdown thing, it's not your choice.
Yes.
So everybody says, it's fine, you can stay at home. But the fact is, when it's not your choice to stay at home, that has a big mental impact on you.
Yes.
It's fine to say, you need to stay at home because you're sick or because of whatever, right? Yes. But now it's somebody else imposing their authority on you for the good of the people, of course, and all those things.
Yes.
But it's not a choice that you had to make. And so being forced to stay inside or to stay locked down or in quarantine, that takes a big mental toll on us.
Yes.
And just that small little victory of going outside in your car, it feels like a freedom that you haven't experienced in a long time.
Yes, even though I've been to the store and I've been to the supermarket or the store, whatever they call it here, and so but it was like those little
scavenging missions.
Yes, it was just, but this was like a big step. It was like, okay, I'm now in my business, I'm doing something for my business, I'm just not looking after me personally, where we have to eat and go and buy stuff. This was, okay, so what's the next step? How does my business look right now? And so I'm extremely lucky. My people are online, they meet me online. I have been doing this for 10 years. I've used I started with GoToMeeting and Zoom, and I've gone over to Blue Jeans, and we're doing this on Ecamm right now. So I've been online for a long time. So I've been very lucky where I've trained my retail customers to be online, which was pretty funny, because they like to see you face to face, because I'm right here in Houston. But so everybody's had to change a little bit, but I found and I work at home all day long, except when I go and visit clients. But that, as you said, you're not in control. You're not deciding, okay, today I'm going to go and quickly do this and this and this and this and see this client and maybe do this, and somebody else is controlling me. And now we have that fear factor. I can literally, I'm totally confident. Ask Buttons. I am, as I said, show me a camera and I'm on it. But it's that fear factor, you get that. Even though I'm not, people say you're an introvert, so everybody who's an introvert is happy because they can stay inside. I think it's a really bad thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is a bad thing. Sorry, there, Brandt. It is a bad thing because we can also experience it now. Where we're trying to now reach out to people and say, listen, guys, we know that we are moving on to different levels now. But reaching out there, going out there, you got a new level, but you still don't have the attitude because you've been on confinement now. I watched the show this morning and I had a look, and I can compare it with being in jail. So it's like the one part of the people in jail, they're in solitary confinement, so they speak to each other through these little pigeonholes. So they don't see each other, but they at least have some type of contact. But you're also safer in jail in solitary confinement because nobody can touch you. You don't have this mix of people getting together, and there's a lot of bad people in there. And also, the other side of it is also true that when you're in the bigger part of the jail, the more general part of jail, there's more threat out there. There's more people out there. There's more fear out there. But you have the opportunity to interact with people. You have the opportunity to contact people, talk to them. You can overcome the fear factor there. because you can either accept it or you can confront it, and that's how I think it sort of boils down to what people are also experiencing now.
Yes.
Getting out there now out of your confinement, but you have to take the step now to go forward because you need hope, and if you don't have hope, where are you going to? So that is the important thing. You have to take the step. You have to confront. You have to communicate, and that's important. And I think that's what Brandt and myself are trying to do with the different groups. And you can still feel some of the groups are still. They know they know that they need the knowledge and they need the experience, and they need to do it, but they don't want to interact. They do not want to take that step because mentally they still block.
Yes.
And if the change doesn't happen mentally, you won't be able to take the first physical step.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So, Brandt?
So from my perspective, it's going back to now business related. It's a large part of business is networking.
Yes.
And even if you're introverted, you still need to network. And having someone else's authority imposed on you to stay at home, right? And that may be fine. You say you're an introvert, but still, that's not your choice.
That's not your choice. Yes.
Even if you're introverted, I'm a high introvert. I've just learned to adapt. But if someone else tells you you can't do this, you can't do this.
No.
Human beings are social creatures, and quite honestly, a lot of us don't respond well to authority, myself included.
Yes.
How dare you tell me what I can and cannot do?
Yes.
Right? So but then you have to think now, it's not just about me. You can say, I'm fine with getting, the disease or the virus or whatever it may be, right? But yes, the problem is that it's not just about you.
No.
You can be a carrier and still have no symptoms. So you have the potential to infect everybody else around you, and you stay healthy and all kinds of things. So there's a different element to it now.
Yes.
And while you can understand the mental machinations behind the idea of locking down and locking in, sitting down and shutting up and all kinds of things, when it's not your choice, that adds a different sort of psychological element to the thing.
Yeah.
And so a large part of business is networking, it's self-awareness, communication, all these things. If you tie that off, your business will suffer. And if you have not learned the skills to do things online,
yes,
to not just look at your small little community anymore, but to think digitally, think globally, and expand, then things are not going to go well for you, unfortunately. For example, this little bakery had to shut down, and I went and I asked them, it's like, okay, so, what can we do to get you guys back up and running? It's like, well, nobody's going to come in and nobody's going to buy anything. It's like, okay, but you still want to bake, right? It's like, yes, we still want to bake. So how about making some entertaining videos about baking and maybe, publishing a recipe book.
Exactly.
And teaching people how to do these things, and then creating an online course for baking cakes or whatever. And you know what? They're successful now again, right? On a whole different scale.
Yes.
So they had to close down the little brick and mortar business. Okay, that's unfortunate. She's still selling cakes and cookies and all kinds of things from her house now to the locals. But she's now have a whole new element to it. And now people get a little QR code on the cookies where they can just scan the QR code on the cookies and they can go to a video that tells you how to make these things.
Yes.
And that adds a whole different element to it.
You literally got to, you have to think about your business and say, okay, so how can I change what I have been doing if your doors are not open? How can I change?
Exactly.
I think, so this is my personal opinion, is that, and COVID has been bad and we've lost a lot of people, but for business and a business perspective, I think that the businesses have grown out of this because there were a lot of old-fashioned businesses that are not online, or they're all sort of online, but they not online.
You've got a Facebook page. That's
the Facebook page. And they've got a brochure, they've got a website, but they don't do anything about it. So they don't think about online.
They don't drive leads to it. They don't sell anything from it.
Exactly.
The website is not making you money. It's worthless.
Exactly. So they have had, I've had these retail clients that have, they have stores online, and e-commerce stores, and they've done nothing. They get a couple of orders through it, and they get some orders through Amazon, but that's all happiness, right? Because the retail store was extremely successful. So I'm talking about my one little sports store that I'm doing the POS system for. They sell to hockey teams and lacrosse teams and all the gear, right? So I mean, there's no teams, right? And nothing's happening. Hopefully, I think the teams are starting to practice. What the girl said, and small teams like 4 and the goalie, right? And so they're starting to practice because they have to. I mean, if they don't practice, they can't win. As soon as everything opens, but so they had to literally take their store and go, okay, so what's wrong with this store, and let's do something that can make us money. And they are, they literally. We just launched that, but I know with my boutique. My kids' boutique, she was panicking. I mean, she was like literally panicking. She just moved into a new retail thing, and this thing happened, right? And she has a construction loan. And so the cool part was, as soon as she went online, got used to doing the things online, like we did a little bit of ads, because otherwise you're not going to get business either. And she is starting to get her 50 orders a day. And by the time this is over, she will probably do as well online as what she did in her retail, which I've been
if not better, because, right, if we look at the basic 80-20 rule, right, 80% of your income goes to the overheads.
Yes.
The rent of the store, the keeping of the stock, the hiring of staff, all these things, right? And let's say now you replace your staff with a CRM, and you place a store with an online store, WooCommerce or Shopify or whatever, right? And you use FedEx or something to fulfill the orders for you, right? Essentially, it's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
Because you don't have to work. Now you're no longer working in your business, you're working on your business, you're working on expanding your business. And so then that 80-20 gets flipped around.
Yeah.
Now you can only invest 20% of your time, but you get 80% of the results back.
Yeah. So, but what
you need to give up your store when things get back to normal, right? But you go back to your store, but right now, maybe thinking a little bit better, asking better questions.
Yeah, but
or hiring me to come and help you with some better thinking.
Exactly. Yes.
Or
exactly.
Employing connect people to people and think about ways to do a creative branding course for you, or a team building course for you to get your people moving and get that 80-20% down.
Yes.
That's what we're here for.
And that's what I feel as well, is like getting those employees to come in and getting them on the right mindset, because these employees are sitting at home getting a check, right?
So that's what now goes to entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
So you're basically trying and employ your people with the mindset that they want to be entrepreneurs inside the company they already work for.
Yes, exactly.
So your employees should be taking charge of the company like it's their company.
Yeah.
So if you hire someone who cares about your company the way you care about your company.
Yes.
There's someone who's going to look for new options, that's going out there networking, that's going out there and finding new avenues to explore, new resources to maintain, to new avenues to make you money.
But that's not easy, right? I mean, that's
no,
really
it's not. It takes
easy.
training. It takes time.
Yes, and so as entrepreneurs, I think as entrepreneurs, we have coaches, we have mentors, and in between. But I think you should also have somebody that can train your team, right, to actually get them in the right mindset. Believe me, I had a recruiting company. These people do not want to go out and sell, so there's a certain type of person that,
because they feel like it's safe.
Yes.
Having a job is safe, right? Because I don't really need to do anything and I still get my check.
Yes.
Right, which is sort of what's happening right now. I'm not dissing anybody, don't at me.
Yes.
But that's what we call entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship. So, and it starts at the HR department. When you hire someone, hire the people that's going to look after your company, not just someone that fits the bill, right? So it might take a little bit longer.
It's not always easy.
Anything is
it's not always. Yeah. Buttons, you were going to say something?
No, I mean, I think it's just going to be more relevant for everybody to be on board nowadays with new, because And we were talking about self-awareness. So you have to become aware of what are your responsibilities in the company.
Yes.
You have to become more aware of how the new is going to be. You have to become aware of not only self-aware but also aware of how your whole team is thinking. And when you do become more aware, you obviously have appreciation, and they would have appreciation. There will be inter-appreciation of each other's thinking preferences, and that would lead you to also see how do you approach your team, how do you get value out of your team, how do you build trust in your team, and how do you go forward by communicating, because
Yes.
it's all still everything just still boils down to the thinking, then to
Communicating.
yes, of course. The way you think is the way you feel is the way you're going to behave eventually. And not only for online businesses. Now the time, some people will go back to their businesses which will not be online eventually. It will go back to what they had. They had the time now to appreciate where they are, and how did they change everything? Did they change everything for the better? So they will have maybe a better plan going ahead, and maybe a better vision, and maybe a better mission.
Yes.
And obviously, in this time, also work out proper goals and the reachable goals that you can attain to.
And that's so important. You got to have a plan. Yes. So and I was just thinking that I have a good example, a Namibian example. So when my mom had her restaurant, they had the one restaurant, and they actually got, and that's all about training your team on how to communicate with your customers. And you know, we all think we know what we're doing, but you need that expert to come in and say, okay, people, when you walk up to your customers, start smiling, even though they're insulting you. You know, you got to keep smiling. So they actually got a customer. Well, they actually got an expert who was, I think, he was family, but they got him to come to Soccermont to teach the staff on how to treat the customers. And that little restaurant was super successful, and they sold it. So, but my point is that I think small businesses tend to not train their team properly, or not have a plan on how to train their team, right?
And so this goes back now to the easiest said than done thing, is that a lot of times people just don't know what is expected of them.
No.
So they've got a big old contracts like, bam, this is your responsibility. It's like, yeesh, all these legalese, I'm not even sure. It's just point me to the direction, I'll do whatever you say, sir.
Yes.
But if you take the time and you appreciate them and you establish a relationship with your team, and you give them the skills and the opportunity to grow in a safe environment where they can make mistakes,
yes,
right, without needing to worry about their job.
Yes, exactly.
So you allow them the small little playground area to make their mistakes in, right?
Yeah.
And this is just basic training.
Yes, exactly.
And then you can allow them to expand their horizons. So I'm not a big fan of pushing people into outside their comfort zones.
Yes.
Because it's dangerous.
Yes.
Right? So I hate it when people say you need to get out of your comfort zone. We're going to push you out of your comfort zone. It's like, that's dangerous. I like my comfort zone. It's comfy. Right? But
exactly.
we can slowly expand your comfort zone.
Yes.
And then that becomes your new normal.
Yes, exactly.
So we all delve, and me and Buttons have had numerous conversations about the lowest level of training.
Yes.
Right, which is why, as a military man, Buttons, being put through the ringer in basic training, is because when, the fecal matter hits the fan, it's that you will revert back to your lowest form of training, and that's the basic boot camp.
Yep.
Right, and the same thing is applied to business. You need to train them in an environment where it's okay to fail. No one's going to die in basic training. I hope not, anyway. I haven't been through it. So, it's like I'm speaking out of correction here. But it's
still here, you're still here.
It's not easy.
No.
Right? I can't imagine it's easy, but it's challenging and it's growing your comfort zone.
Yes.
And it's okay to make mistakes because you're gonna get knocked down for your mistake, but you're not gonna get booted out because of the mistake. You're gonna learn from it and you're gonna grow from it. And you're going to remember under pressure that you're not gonna make that same mistake again. And it can be something as simple as smiling at the customer. Yes. The customer is not always right, but the customer is still king.
So then when he gets out that credit card, he's important. Yes, Buttons.
Yeah, I think it's also important that people, I mean, they still do have time. I mean, time is not going to, this is not going to be everlasting, but it's going to be a total change.
Yes.
And the process of going there, so we have the time now to in between train your people properly, like Brandt said. And I think what's important, and we also on the whole brain training, what is important now is to and that's so clear when the people become self-aware and when they become aware of their different thinking preferences. That's a wonderful thing to just see how people immediately start appreciating each other.
Yes.
And they immediately know, okay, this is how you this is why you think like you think. But you put somebody like that into the other quadrant and say, but start thinking like your friend does.
Yes.
And then the friend thinks like the other one does. Put them in your shoes and see how you would have approached this whole process.
Yes.
Now, when everybody is aware of their thinking preferences, it becomes so much easier for them to work as a whole brain team.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and then like Brandt said, it's not right, it's not wrong the way you think.
No.
But it just gives the opportunity to analyze a little bit better, appreciate people more, appreciate how they think, and because of that thinking, the interaction will become so much better. And that also goes out to how they perceive the client, because now they are also challenging the thinking preferences of the clients. And they see that if I approach this person, I have to approach him in a certain way.
Yes.
And that makes the selling and also the business side of it more interesting and more colorful, because you will see if that team now works together and approach a project together, that they will appreciate the factor that they can all see the whole picture. And if then they do win a contract or they do have a successful sale, it will be a combined whole brain team that did that.
Yeah.
So it will not be the I thing. I did that and I sold that. And
yes.
we have
yes.
to talk we. It's the we.
Yeah.
There's no I in a team. So let's talk about we. We did it. And so you will get more acknowledgement from your team inside and more appreciation. And the success will be for them,
yes,
not for the individual person that did it. And that is how you build up trust with your company, and that is how you will also build up trust with the clientele of your company.
Oh yes, absolutely. So I literally had to, when I had my recruiting company, I literally had to do the color thing. I just call it the color thing, right? Because I'm...
Watch me.
Yeah, right, green. The wheel.
This is amber. This is red.
But for me, it was like, I'm impatient. If you don't understand what I'm saying, just get on with it. Here's the task, go, right? But if you're dealing with somebody that needs an explanation, like my son was working for me, and he would go, nope, don't understand. Try a little bit more explanation, and I'd go, I don't understand, I don't want to do this. But I realized that I need to lay the facts out for him. It has to be logical. Then he will take the task and go and do it. So as a leader, you actually need to understand what makes your minions, your employees tick. Because
your minions.
Your minions, right? You need to hold your
valuable, skillful employees.
Skillful employees, yeah.
I got your back, people.
Talk about team. Let's talk about team, Veronica. Get that one out of there.
Okay, not my minions, but my team. But whether you have to hold somebody's hand or whether you can just trust somebody to, hey, you see something, go for it. Give them and also give them a sense of pride that they can make a decision. And so you as a small business owner, you don't have to hold on to every single detail and decision. Give them a little bit of power. Yes. And I think we have the time, as Button says, we have the time now to actually learn as leaders, to actually learn to work with our teams as well, and to actually get that whole learning process, that whole 21 days. If I practice for 21 days, I can do it. If we can get that going, I'm sure we will be able to be better leaders as well, right?
That's absolutely true. And what you're saying is basically the same way in training. I hate it when someone tells me in training, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And I had to stop, dude, hang on. It's not up to me to know what you mean. It's up to you to explain what you mean. Right? So I hate it when people say, if you know what I mean, and then they just carry on.
Yes.
Right? Saying, no. Hang on here. It's your job to explain what you mean.
Yes.
And you have to know who's in the room.
Yes, exactly.
So you need to speak to all four thinking preferences, right? You need to think you're analytical, you're imaginative.
Yes.
You're negotiative people. You just people who sit in a circle and sing kumbaya. There's wonderful people that you can't walk down the street with without them greeting everybody along the way and knowing what everybody's aunt, secret cousins, twice lover, once removed is doing.
Yeah.
And then you have to, the people that are very factual, detailed orientated, and the people who like to take charge. You have to accommodate all those people in your room.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, as a trainer, as a leader, if you run a business, you're a leader because you are responsible for everybody else around you.
Yeah, and even if you don't have employees and you only have little wee minions, it's the same.
Then you have just you yourself. Then you need to employ some self-leadership.
Yeah, well, and
you can't be
exactly.
yelling at your customers.
Exactly, right, exactly. Anyway, I'd like to keep these things short, otherwise people have to hang on for hours. But I loved what we were talking about today, because we actually touched on various things of how to run your company, what to do with your teams, what you guys are doing. And I think next time we come on, we're going to talk about your show. I'm very excited about the show that you guys are doing. And what you guys are doing. So the Business Unusual show is all about business and sport and what's happening in the world today and how we can help each other succeed. And that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Central African time on the Connect People to People Facebook page, on my Brandt von West Facebook page. And, just tune in and leave a comment. I take anything, questions, praises. I'll take a complaint. If you want to, if it will rant on me, I'll take it. It's fine. This is the opportunity to tell me what you really think about me, so that's fine. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think what's important is I think people must also realize that we are all in the same boat. Some are on the boat, some are on the little boat that rescue boats already.
It's a big boat. Big boat.
And some have been airlifted already. But I think what we can do is we can all learn from each other, and that's what we do. We can even help people all over the world. So we can also help people in your country. They can also help us. That's interactive that we have. So that is why I'm also now part of the new age. Because I'm online.
We brought you in kicking and screaming, baby.
Yes. Buttons is not one to kick and scream. He will just quietly sit there, and then from a few kilometers away he'll snipe you. So
yes,
yeah, that's what we do. So
very sensible.
If we can help anybody out there, we are there for you. So you can just push on our button.
Yeah.
And we can do it for you.
And I'll put the links in for people to come into your show and to connect with you if they need help with team building or whatever. I mean, there's so many little things. And if you guys don't know if you can't help them, we'll just refer them to somebody, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I do. I was actually on a BNI call, the Business International, whatever they call themselves, Business Networking International. Have not been in 10 years to a meeting, and I was invited to one in Australia at 7 o'clock last night, and was their next day morning, but they couldn't give me any stock tips. But so they were in the future, baby. So, but it was very interesting to listen to them and to see all the businesses communicating and still building. Even though BNI was built on we all go to a meeting, we have some breakfast and blah, 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 So, yeah, I think that's definitely Exciting times. Okay, so I will pop in again next week, and thank you very much for popping in and listening to us. And if you are coming on afterwards, I'll put the links in the description, and you can connect with any one of us. I do e-commerce, products, whatever, and obviously not POS systems online, but Brandt and Buttons do team building for businesses, but also for families. Because, I mean, the personal side is so important before we even step off the boat outside the house, right? Yeah, right? So that personal, okay, we've actually bought a temperature thermometer just because Roy is like, we need to take our temperatures, and I go, you got to be kidding me, right? I'm sweating right now because I'm having tea. But it's just that we have to get outside and take, as Button says, you got to take the step. You got to take that step to get your life and your business back to normal, and you got to stay online. Hello. Otherwise, how are people going to stay? Nobody's going to know you're around, right? This is the digital world, right? This is the digital world.
Yeah, and so people keep talking about the Industrial Revolution, IR4, whatever, Industrial Revolution number 4, whatever. And I think they're missing the point. It's not so much an Industrial Revolution as it is a digital revolution.
Yes.
Everything's going online now. So, connect with people. Yes. Who connect with people.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's exactly. And I think I know in Namibia e-commerce is not something that you can easily do internationally. There are several huge stumbling blocks. I've been working with some people, but you can even have an online business serving local people, right?
Yes,
just in the country, right? I mean, we just have a little bit every time that thing goes ding 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 and you have somebody pay for some products. It is awesome, baby. So that's what I'm talking about. You got to have that ding ding ding.
Yeah, go for it.
In your bank account. So that's what we're all working for the dinging. Okay, so okay, thank you guys. Thank you guys for popping in with me. I love chatting to you guys, and I hope everybody understands our accents as well, which is always very strange, right? But in America they say we're cute if we have an accent, so I'm sticking to that.
Right. Well, I'm spoken for, so
all right.
I'm not cute.
I can talk a little bit slower next time.
No,
people
don't talk slower. You're slow enough.
I was slow enough.
If you're talking slower, you're going to stop talking. I can. Well, look, understand me, don't understand me. You can email me and I'll talk to you via text or something.
Exactly.
I'll talk to you on the new online language. There you go.
The online language, just ones and zeros.
Okay, bye guys. I love having you online, and thank you for listening. And I hope we actually helped somebody today. So
I hope so too.
We'll see you next week again. Bye.